topic of conversation, obviously, in the last few years, too. It doesn't matter what size you are. You can play wherever you want to play on the field. So here we go. We'll get Spencer ready in just a second. What's going on? We'll get you a mic so the world can hear you.
So people can hear that illustrious voice, silky smooth, not just good looks. Silky smooth. I was
going to say we've had SEC, we've had ACC, we've had SEC again.
Yes.
So what are you saying?
We're getting the big schools.
You're saying that people can't go to the Futures game without going to one of those?
No, apparently not.
No, I get
it's all about Vandy and LSU.
I get
but it is
JJ.
right now. So let's talk to Spencer Jones joining us in the New York Yankees system. Currently in Somerset, which is the spot we were at not too long ago. We spent some time there. I think it was before you got there. Actually, you know where our big interview was back then? We spoke to Ben Rice.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Have you been tracking Ben Rice's status?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite thing to do when I'm not at the field is checking up on him.
And what do you think?
He's been doing incredible, right? I think people are just starting to figure out the kind of ball player he's been and somebody that, I've been lucky enough to play with the last 2 years and see it firsthand. And I'm glad everyone gets to see that now.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of crazy because he's in the Yankee system, but I actually felt the same way. Like he wasn't getting hyped to the degree that his teammates were hyping him. Right?
Yeah. What's his name? Who was on? I forget what the pitcher
Chase
that was
Hampton.
on. Thank you.
Yeah.
They were like, who's the player that's surprising you or like
on
impressed
Somerset.
You on Somerset? And he goes, Ben Rice is the greatest hitter I've ever seen in my
Yeah,
life.
he did say that.
Literal quote. And I was like, come on, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's the truth. Like the guy draws a lot of walks. He doesn't strike out. Hits the ball hard. And it's like, it feels like every single game he does something.
So he's perfect.
We love him.
So he's a perfect man.
I don't want to say he's perfect, but he's the best player I've ever played with.
This is a Baseball America show. So JJ, we'll get to Spencer in a sec, but were you guys tracking his teammate?
We were. I mean, he's always been top
teammate?
30, but we're light. We're light. He was like number 10 when he came up.
Okay.
So like the profile, we get sucked in a little bit. I'll admit sometimes like guy with a little bit of a non-traditional profile at a bat first position.
Yes.
And then, but the great thing about it is
catcher.
He was a catcher, but now he's first base too.
No, he plays first. He's a catcher.
But that was
he's an incredible catcher too.
Exactly. Come on, JJ. This is what I'm talking about.
See, but this is also the thing that's awesome about it is and we did talk about on the Hot Sheet show when Ben came up. It's cool when you see a guy get the opportunity and then he takes it, grabs it
right away.
Right. And speaking of that, like this weekend, this is an opportunity.
Absolutely.
How fun is this for you?
This is really cool. It's really, it's special to be able to do it for a second time. I was here last year, able to enjoy it, but I think doing it for the second time, it's like you can kind of relax a little bit and appreciate it for what it really is. Because the first time around, you don't really know what's going on. You're moving around, doing all these different things. And the second time, you're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. You know what I mean? I get to meet a bunch of people, hang out, reconnect, and just, enjoy the weekend.
So you're the vet here. So are you giving advice? Like our dudes who are like, oh, wow, I get a Wilson glove. You're like, yeah, I've got two of them. I get a bat. Do you talk to guys? Obviously not as arrogantly as I just said, but do you talk to guys about that? And you're like, hey guys, don't do all these pictures because they never show up anywhere. Like, do you have advice like that for guys?
One of my teammates, he was supposed to come out and he was asking me questions. I pretty much just told him to bring a bigger suitcase because he's going to get more backpacks than he thought he'd need.
That is what, when you are a 10-year vet in the show, that's what you're going to be imparting on guys. Like the hitting coach from the race for me. We played together in the minor leagues. He was 10 years older than me. He's like, don't ever change and shower right after the game. He's like, wear your clothes, your undershirt, so when we come and have ribs, we had ribs that night, you can eat your ribs and you can just wipe them on your shirt and throw them on your clip. Like, that's knowledge. A bigger suitcase, your boy was going to bring some extra shoes. He was going to bring some extra jeans. Right. No, you're getting all that swag. It's good. I like that.
Absolutely.
So what was going through it last year? What was the moment that will stick with you from doing it last year?
I think it was just the experience of getting to meet people. You know what I mean? Like I was like in batting practice and it was like the first time I'd ever seen Dave Winfield. That was my mom's favorite player, right?
Monster.
She would tell me stories about him playing all the time growing up. And then, there I am, it's my turn next to hit and Dave's standing right outside the cage. I was like, oh, this is the greatest moment ever, right? And so, I was lucky enough to go say hi and we were able to talk a little bit. And then, fast forward to spring training, I run into him again and we're able to pick up that conversation. So it's been great.
And you can look him in the eye. Not many guys can do that, but you
we
can
were joking about that, yeah.
Which, how much is it an advantage as a hitter, leverage, levers, and how much of it is like, okay, that you have to make allowances, you have to make adjustments for the fact. I mean, you are what you are, right? But like being, having long levers, being 6'7", like being that guy, is it like something where it's like, man, I wouldn't trade it for the world? Or it's like, there's sometimes to be nice to, to have a little bit smaller strike zone.
No, I mean, I wouldn't change anything about how I am or how I'm built, or I'm comfortable in my body. I feel like players my size, there might be some disadvantages some people might see, but for me as a player, it's all I've ever known, and I just want to take advantage of my frame and what I can do on a baseball field.
Do you feel like when a hitting coach who is not large comes up to you and is like, "Hey, you should do this," you're like, it's not going to work out for me. You know what I mean? Do you have to filter that out? Because I think a lot of coaching is filtering out what doesn't work for Spencer Jones may work for somebody else.
Right. Well, as you know, you learn things along the way. It's kind of like in one ear, out the other. But at the same time, you got to retain some of the information, right? So it's like you're going to learn something in every conversation. You're going to, pick up things or pick up perspectives you haven't thought of before, and then you can just apply that to what you already know. So
it was 1 year ago. You were in Seattle for this. Here we are. We're in Texas. How are you a better player now? How are you like where you can look at it and say, this is something, because you're always trying to improve. Mm-hmm. But here, it's a year later, and I know that I'm better at this. I've gotten better, whether it's physical, mental, or whatever. But what is it that you're like, I feel good about the fact that I've made progress in that the past year?
Yeah, I feel like I'm just more comfortable with the routine and more comfortable with the process. Taking it all in the first year, like I said before, it kind of moves quickly, and you kind of go about doing things for the first time. And
I'm talking about your just where you are as a player now. Sorry.
Okay.
Like a year later, like as a hitter or as a fielder or whatever, are you a better player now? Do you feel like, and what is it that you're better at now than you were at this time last year?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm a much better all-around player. I feel like I've gotten a lot better, reads in the outfield. My swing, as it's continuing to develop, but at the same time, I feel like I'm putting myself in good positions to hit. And base running wise, I feel like my aggressiveness has ticked up. I've learned a lot about base stealing in the last year, and it's something that I like applying. And it's overall been great. I feel like I've just evolved as a baseball player.
There's things always as a player that are outside of your control, and it's like, control the controllables, all that stuff. When you hear a report in the offseason that you are not going to be traded for this ex superstar, this Cy Young, do you gain confidence from that? A little bit, like kind of like, yeah, like I got invited to this futures game, and they think this much of me up in the league, because that's where you want to get to. Like they think that highly of you. How do you deal with that, or how does that make you feel, and how do you deal with it?
Right. I mean, it's a good feeling to be held in that regard from, the ownership standpoint and management, and that they, that they believe in me. And I think that's the biggest thing. For me, I don't really, take too much stock in it. Like during the off season, obviously I'm focused on what I can do and what I like, the work that's in front of me there. But I'm not, on the Twitter boards worrying about this, that, or whatever. I'm more so focused on what I have to do. It's cool to hear, and, people can talk, but at the end of the day, it's, you got to get your work done.
Does it, as a hitter, your background, I mean, it wouldn't have been a surprise 10 years ago. We would talk and it's like, hey, we're going to see it at the future game, but you have been pitching. Like that was a possibility. Does that help you as a hitter that you had that time, you understand the mentality also of how difficult it is and everything that's involved with being a pitcher?
I wouldn't say that it's given me, well, I'm trying to find the best way to describe it. I didn't feel like I was as advanced as a pitcher as I would have liked to believe, or others would have liked to believe. But I just being in a clubhouse with a lot of these great pitchers that I do play with, understand the work that they put in, how committed they are to what they do every single day. It's something that I try and pick their brains, as every hitter does, talking to pitchers, trying to learn different things. And a lot of my friends in the off season, majority of them are pitchers, so I just get to sit there and learn as much as possible. And it's a learning opportunity every day. So.
Played with a lot of guys in the minor leagues who were pitchers, the opposite, and they'd watch us hit, and we're hitting 230, 220, and they'd be leaning back in the bullpen. I could do this. Now, you said you weren't as advanced, but I saw what you did. You came from a pitching factory at Vanderbilt. Is there a part of you that's like, I could go out there and get 3 outs in this inning, and this guy can't even hit the broadside of a barn right now?
Well, I mean, pitchers are so good now. You know what I mean? They've got all the pitch shapes. They know exactly what they're doing. They're all dialed in.
Yeah, but it's not throwing strikes.
Right. I wasn't very good at that.
Okay, so that
To be
was
honest,
so that
yeah,
was
I
your-
wasn't very good
See,
at
that's
that one.
bad by me. I
You
should
were
have done more.
projectable. Yeah, you were projectable.
Projectable. I got you. Okay, that's fair. So that doesn't apply then.
Okay, we'll do it to you now. We talked about like this time last year, Ben Rice was the guy. It's like,
Mhm.
I'll put it to you, give it to you kind of two options. Who's the guy that you play with? Who's the teammate? Who's the guy you play with, spring training or whatever, that we're not talking about enough? Or the flip side of that, if you want to, is who's the pitcher you faced that's like, man, if I never have to see that dude again, I'll be happy. I'll be happy.
Right. I mean, this guy's burst on the scene this year is Agustin Ramirez. He's had an incredible season. You know, he's a catcher, hits the ball hard everywhere he plays. We knew that last year. He came up and played with us in Hudson Valley, absolutely mashed in high A, got himself up to double A pretty quick. And then, you know, to start this year, he's hitting the ball out of the yard more than anybody. So he's one of those guys that I feel like you guys are going to watch hit for a long time.
That's awesome. Yankees just produce catchers. That's what they do. I mean,
Yeah.
when there's 4 catchers that were in the lineup. One was playing third.
Mhm.
Ben Rice was playing first. Someone else was playing. Did Augustine come up last year to Somerset at all?
Mm-hmm. The end of the year.
I think he had just gotten there when we were there,
Mhm.
and they were like, "Oh, this dude!" Like, I think he was catching that night, and the other catcher was DHing.
Sounds about right. Yeah. I mean, I think we have 3 or 4 catchers right now in Somerset too. All great hitters. So
That's like the Padres with shortstops.
Padres with shortstop.
Yeah.
That's a big league team with shortstops. Sorry, you can't make it.
Certain
You can't make the
orgs-
Padres. You have to be a shortstop.
Yeah.
You have to be a shortstop.
The Reds
2
had
players.
that with which position?
They had shortstops too.
They had
Shortstop.
shortstops. Yeah, because
Yeah.
McLean,
Certain
Ellie.
orgs, like
Yeah.
they just
Before that,
Steer.
there was
Yeah.
a lot of dudes, but
Well, Spencer, awesome to have you here.
I appreciate you
the
guys.
time. Yeah, welcome
Appreciate it,
back.
Of course.
Thank you. Welcome back. And
Yeah,
again, you get to enjoy it.
Of course.
Yeah,
Second
yeah.
time,
Have
even
have a good
Great.
time. Enjoy the skills competition
Yeah,
as
it'll
well.
oh, wait,
A
are
little
you
added
doing one?
layer.
I don't think I'm in
I haven't
it.
No.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
going to enjoy it. That's for sure. I'm going to be.
Again,
I'm
you
gonna
don't
be
worry about
history.
it. Laying down a bunch.
You're going to be top stepping it.
Yeah,
Yeah, bunching.
it's-
I don't know if I'll do that. I don't know if I'll do that part.
never.
He's going to
But
get fired.
they've never done that. They've never done it. This is the
First
first
time.
year. They're
First
trying
time.
it out.
Right.
I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
to see how
excited for
goes.
it.
I want to see you hit dingers.
See me in batting practice.
Oh, and batting
Oh,
practice
yeah.
is going to be
Batting
I'm gonna
practice.
watch.
practice
show.
is going to be fun.
Yeah,
I'm
Batting
gonna watch,
practice,
especially here.
You and Devison De Los Santos. I want to, that's what I'm looking forward to.
there you go.
Okay.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank
Okay,
you,
appreciate
Spencer.
it.
Good to
Thank
see
you
you.
very much.